cry for all the innocent ones, born into a world that's lost its heart, for those who never learn to dream, because their hope is crushed before they can start. We shake our fists at the air and say, if God is love, how can this be fair? But we are his hands, we are his voice, we are the ones who must make the choice. If it isn't now, tell me when. If it isn't you, tell me who will save the children. Who will save the children? La, 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 la.
In many countries around the world, tens of thousands of girls and boys are trafficked and exploited for sex and forced labor, usually by organized criminal networks. Men who recruit girls often pretend to be a boyfriend or a family member.
All the hungry and homeless who struggle to live, but heaven is watching tonight.
In the United States, there's estimates of something like 20,000 people brought into the country every year. It's usually teenage girls between the ages of 13 and 17 who have a lack of family support. Maybe they've been abused as a child, and if a trafficker does his business right, he can make $70,000 a year off of one girl's body.
Who will save the children? Who will save the children? As we observe them through our TV screens, they seem so distant and unreal.
But did you know child prostitution is happening here at home in America, in Chicago, New York, Atlanta, and most major metropolitan cities in the United States. Each year, an estimated 300,000 American children are at risk of commercial sexual exploitation in the United States.
We're all under 18. We're all the same age. There would be a few girls that I knew that were like in their 20s or whatever, but they had been doing it since they were our age anyways. I did wait till 12, and these girls were doing it since they were like 8 or 9, and now they're like 12.
We decide that nothing can change and throw up our hands in love.
Pimps and traffickers are psychological experts, knowing exactly how to manipulate vulnerable teenage girls. They tend to target naive girls who have problems with family, school, boyfriends, or self-esteem. Girls who will be highly susceptible to the initial generosity, affection, and flattery offered by their new boyfriend. Eventually, the pimp will ask the girl to sell herself for him, a request that, if denied, results in beatings and rape, who can bring in new girls. The hunting grounds for these predators often are suburban areas of large cities. Pimps frequent neighborhood malls, clothing stores, tattoo body piercing shops, juice bars, movie complexes, and bus stations in search of young girls to befriend. Traffickers have recruitment down to a science. In most cases, it only takes a few weeks to lure the girl into taking a trip with them, a trip which will change their lives forever. They dismiss the victims as runaways, as children willingly chose this lifestyle. A girl who runs away from home to escape family problems with no intention of entering prostitution frequently winds up in the hands of a pimp. Runaways generally leave home with enough money to sustain themselves for a week. After this point, they are a vulnerable commodity. Down and out hungry with nowhere to go, the pimp finds them in bus stations and seedy downtown areas and offers badly needed food and shelter in exchange for prostitution. Once a girl is swept into this network, neither law enforcement nor their families can do much to get her back again. Learn to recognize victims. You may see them at the mall, transit station, or just hanging out around town. If you are a young girl, be wary of whom you speak with, and even more wary of offers to model or act.
Cry for all the innocent ones, born into a world that's lost its heart, for those who never learn to dream, because their hope is crushed before they can start. We shake our fists at the air and say, if God is love, how can this be fair?
He definitely just beat us, like, it'll probably stump you out, like, stump you, like, when you're on the ground, physically stump you, yeah. He'll probably hit you with a belt, physically slap you, punch you.
He would beat me with broomsticks, handles, he would burn me with candles. He would take metal hangers and beat me with them and poke me with them, belts, anything that he can get his hands on, he would beat me with. The one time he had beat me so bad that he had ruptured my spleen and it put me in the intensive care unit.
Children as young as 11 and 12 years old, helpless, are commonly raped, abused, and threatened.
We count our blessings one by one.
It's become alarmingly simple to place an order for a child prostitute on the internet. It is so easy. One merely needs to check the classified ads on Backpage.com.
Struggle to live, but heaven is watching tonight, tugging at our hearts to do what's right.
And we are his hands, we are his voice, we are the ones who must make the choice.
If it isn't now, tell me when.
If it isn't you, tell me who will save the children? Who will save the children? As we observe them through our TV screens, they seem so distant and unreal,
But they bleed like we bleed.
and they feel what we feel. Oh, save the children. Somebody please.